Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Boys Review. This is episode 4, season 4, the good double there, of the Boys. I'm the Clown Prince of Squirting, Travis Snell. I'm joined by,
The whale cake, Taylor Field.
yes, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time listening, you go back last week, we had all 3 episodes. We did that in one big batch there, all a bunch of reviews. So we'll get right down into it. We'll talk about this episode, and I'll go first because Taylor Field is making the thumbnail. But yeah, we'll be here for every week for the boys. So now we're at the halfway point, which is always crazy with Amazon when they do these drops. It always feels weird, like we're halfway done. But yeah, we're reviewing all the big June shows, other than The Bear. We're not reviewing that, but we're reviewing Acolyte, reviewing House of Dragon. So if you like those, go check those out. We also got Side Quest still popping off, and lots of retros. Alien right now, the X-Men retrospective. So June and July are some very review heavy months, and I feel like if you look at the feed, there's something there for you. So go check one of those out and let us know, and leave us a review or anything like that. But yeah, so episode 4 here. I think this was another really good episode. I don't think like I was gonna say great, and I could probably even say great. I feel like I want to save great for when it's some of those like all-timer boys episodes. Like if I were to make a list of the top 5 episodes, this wouldn't be in here, but it's like kind of everything it needed to be. I think there's lots of big stakes going on. Even the stuff with Homelander that feels like it could be a side mission feels very important. There's new development with characters. I do like that it just wasn't a like. So I think the boys always does good with this, but there can always be episodes where like a few things happens and it's just there's some character development, but you feel like you're kind of, I won't say stagnant, but somewhere close to that, and shows can happen all the time. And I feel like the first 3 weren't that, and this one definitely wasn't. It's a halfway point. So I think there's lots of good developments going on here. Ones that I would have never even predicted because they just represented in this episode. So no, I thought this was another good one. I'm enjoying the way the show's going. I do think for people, which is fine because we talked about this last week and even the creator has, but I feel like now more than ever, especially with one storyline, the show's getting the most political it's ever gotten, like real world political too, not even the sense of like, oh, we're like alluding this is Donald Trump and stuff like that. They're like literally having superhero deal with laws and issues that are very hot and heavy still for some reason nowadays here. So yeah, so I guess if you're in that camp, probably wouldn't be a fan of it, but no, I'm enjoying everything. I don't really have many cons, especially this one. There's a couple storylines that some have popped up. I'm hoping they're kind of resolved, or they're going to be benched for a little while as they don't have them interest. I will say, like, this is a non-spoiler, this is a minor spoiler, but I don't think it's a major one. I have been surprised at how little we've seen Jeffrey Dean Morgan in the show. I thought like he had the 2 scenes in the first 3 episodes and he wasn't in this one, so I just felt like, not that they were telling me, oh hey, he's going to be a big character, but I thought he would be in these more, and he hasn't really. So again, that's not like an actual con that I would bring against the show. That's just me because I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. It's like, where is this guy? Like I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, has some good chemistry with Butcher, but yeah, no, for cons, I don't really. Maybe when we talk about them, I'll have something, but I don't. I like the way the show's like the direction it's going. I think we're set up for a hopefully good finale. I don't know what they're going to do because obviously season 5 is coming. That's the finale, so I'm not sure if season 4 is going to end on a much more of a bigger cliffhanger. The boys don't tend to do that, so but yeah, overall I'm still happy with what's going on here. Taylor, are you in the same camp, or you got was this a bad week for you?
No, I'm happy. I think that this episode just felt like classic boys. I think that it's great that the show can really just sprout up its own kind of side tangent story here and just really deliver. I feel like this could be like there's really no filler episodes, even though they may try and have those filler episodes in the boys. They all just further the plot, add character development, and just have great action and humorous moments in them. And this just felt like that classic boys that I really, really liked. And I got some answers, got some questionable things, and yeah, just Homelander is just always delivers. He's always scary. When he walks into a certain situation, you just know like, oh shit, it's not going good for the people around him right now. So I'm yeah, I thought this was a really, really good episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's a good way to put it. Even like I said, the Homelander stuff could be that. But all right, we're gonna get into spoilers. So after this, we'll take a little ad break right here. So if you've not seen the episode, come back at a later date, and then we'll be right back. All right, we are back, and as usual, if you want to get this episode ad free, before you might have just heard ad, you could get that right now if you join Patreon. When you do that, you support us. We are independent content creators, so you get to add to that. So stuff like side quests, extra newscasts. The reason we can do all these reviews is the extra help. And if Patreon, if you ever thought about doing it, you could do it right now, or you could wait till August because that's going to be Geek First Day, August 3rd. We're doing a 9-hour stream, a stream that if you up your tier or you join Patreon, we'll go longer. There's tons of events there. We're doing Geek Versus, which is our deadliest warrior of debating fictional characters fighting each other. There will be a fourth wrestling match between me and Taylor. There's going to be some trivia going on. There's going to be what else we have, and the Golden Geeks, our Oscars for 2012. So yeah, check that out. It's gonna be a fun day. So August 3rd, and if you want to tune in, it'll be live on YouTube. We'll hit you at the time later. And yeah, Patreon's the best way to support us. Episodes ad free early, and get exclusive episodes on there right now. There's a I don't even know since we've been doing like the phase 2 and whatnot. I don't know how many exclusive episodes are there, but there is. I'm not gonna say 100, but I feel like we probably are there soon if we do like one a month. I don't know. I'll do the math another day. The boys. So I wanted to talk about this just because I feel like last week we left off on it and we got it confirmed with Sage and the Deep. We are talking about what's going on with Sage, right? Because she's like vegging out and she didn't seem like herself. She's eating chips, laughing at dumb shows. Well, we got the explanation of the which you figured out last week because Lola bought me to, and we were like, why is this? And again, last week was great. They just showed a little bit, and I didn't really even think about that. She talked about some of her powers is that if her brain regenerates and it can be completely fine. So she's never not thinking. She's never not coming up with plans. All this stuff. So she asks him, and then also promises that she can, throw some ass fucking his way, and that gets the Deep right on board. But that's the way that she can just kind of like veg out and not be a hero for a bit. Is literally she's gonna veg out and get a lobotomy, and then her brain will heal. I don't think it's gonna happen now. I was worried when the Deep was doing it, just because I feel like not that he's going to purposely do anything, but that character has extremely bad luck and is kind of an idiot sometimes. So I was worried he was going to really mess this up. But yeah, it kind of made sense that in the episode she was an asshole to him the whole time because she's just thinking. But they did this. I do think this is going to come into play somehow. Whether someone uses it against her, I don't know. But we got our answer. So not too many scenes, but anything to add on Sage and Deep this week? They're still a couple. It wasn't a one-off, so it looks like they're coupling together. So.
Yeah, it's funny how she's almost like it's it's like a Jekyll Mr. Hyde situation where it's like an alter ego, so to speak, where when she's in her super smart mode, she's just super revolted and pissed off with the Deep and yada yada yada, and she's very different. And then when she does lobotomy, then she turns into this completely different like individual. And yeah, it's funny because I realized after the fact when I messaged you after we did that review, like, oh yeah, this is what it is, which is just it's really fucked up and crazy to think about, just to do that to yourself just so she can get chill and relax. And yeah, just wild, just wild. But their dynamic.
Their dynamic is interesting, Taylor. The most interesting is that router that he got is not doing its job. Anyways, Taylor, you're back. What's interesting about their dynamic?
I'm back. You didn't even freeze for me. You're still moving. I thought I was here the whole time.
No, you were frozen. You're like, oh, what's interesting, and then you're
Oh,
gone
because
for about 5
I stopped
seconds.
talking. And you're like, well, you know what is interesting? This router. I was like, this is a weird change of topic.
No, you definitely. Anyways, go continue. What's
Holy shit.
interesting?
Just their relationship. It's just yeah. I love they've been able to just introduce a new character and just have a character we're so used to, just kind of connect with her and the whole dynamic. So yeah, I think she's definitely become very, very intriguing because too, she's watching from behind the scenes and she's giving Firecracker like lines, and we don't also know exactly everything that she's kind of dished out with Firecracker. I'm assuming in retrospect now, the pregnancy thing, which we'll talk about, is what the information was that she gave to Firecracker, and Firecracker was all giddy about it. But she just sits there and she watches how things play out, and seeing how Homelander was kind of in a back seat at this time in this episode, I do feel like, okay, she's still playing the game, but how far, like how well is she manipulating everyone right now? Because I do feel like she's in it for herself.
I think she's doing a great job manipulating everybody. I think they're kind of moving around the piece that she wants. She seems happy. I do think, like I said earlier, that somehow maybe the boys will find out about this lobotomy thing, and that's when they'll strike and take her out. I think because she'll be dumbed down. So I feel that could be Deep will like let it slip or something like that, and that's how it goes. But yeah, I still want to know her end game. But I think right now we have lots of stuff going on where there might be other shows that are halfway through that I'm a little worried about. Where this one I'm not too worried. Where I'm like, okay, I think we'll get enough here to justify me understanding what Sage wants. Where Homelander, we we know now. We talked about last week, like why does he feel the need to go back to where he was created? What did you feel about this? So obviously Homelander was all by himself this episode. He went back to kind of his Weapon X. What did you think about all the Homelander stuff in this episode?
I love his origin focus, and yeah, well, there's not really any proper prompt for this, I'd say, unless he just was feeling.
No, I think there is because they remember his like whole. I think there is now. Last week I didn't think that, but his whole ego or himself, the mirror, is talking about how he's still human, and I think that
Oh, right.
this like him going back there, and even that lady talking about how he's human. I think it's almost him trying to take those parts out. So I feel like he was still having flashes of the people that hurt him or fucked him up. So it's like, oh, if I kill them, they're no longer an issue, which we've seen Homelander try to do that multiple times. And it doesn't matter if he kills them, it's still an issue. But I think that's what he was trying to do, is trying to kill off any humanity. And that thinking about that origin place brings out humanity because he thinks about being scared or picked on or teased or just like tortured. And he feels little then. So I think that's why he went back, was to try to eliminate that any feeling. But I think, like she said, they bred him that way, unfortunately, right? He's always going to feel that. So
No, he's convincing himself that he's working on it, but I'm not necessarily buying that because he keeps on
no.
having to do these acts to prove to
Yeah.
himself that he's evolved from that, but he's not otherwise. And the doctor calls him out, right? Barbara calls him out, like, "Oh, why are you here then? Why are you torturing these people? Because you it's what these therapists did to you. It's just how you need to have that human affection because we knew we couldn't really control you. You could have broken out any time. The whole sequence of him being down there was just on edge, and just him putting the guy in the incinerator was fucking brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, and then him making Marty just beat off and just, yeah, like, get hard or otherwise I'm gonna laser your dick off. It's like, fuck.
And he did that, and that woman threw up everywhere, which I never like seeing. But yeah, and that's an interesting dichotomy, right? Because he's done a lot. He's killed innocent people. He's been very violent. He's sexually assaulted people. So Homelander is really, on paper, like I'd say one of the. If you're just talking about comic books, films, and TV, I don't want to go there because I'd have to really brainstorm. But I'm talking just comic books. I think he's easily like a top three, like despicable, like character. Marvel, DC, whatever image, whatever comics are out there. Homelander is just the worst, right? So it's interesting because I think they do a good job of, he gets this back to this origin thing, and they tell all these stories of what they did to him, and really there's nothing justified about, like, us as the viewers, we do, or you should feel bad for, like, I know they're testing his powers, but still they like lock this kid in an oven for hours, right? Or they do this to him. So it's like, one, you do see how he's a little fucked up. It's not an excuse, but you do see that because there's other characters that were experimented on and they're better. Like, look at uh, God, is it Yukio? No, Yukio's from Deadpool. We're talking about Kamiko. She's somebody that was had experiment on in season one, was a mess, and then she's slowly kind of reforming, even though she was just recently hammered in an episode. But she's, I think, in a much better situation than Homelander is, like as far as a person goes. But I think that's what they did a good job of when they're explaining all these things that they did to him. It's not that I didn't feel bad, or I felt bad for Homelander now and like, oh, I'm with him. I did feel in the sense of like I didn't care if he killed these people because like, yeah, you guys all did this to kids, right? But I think it's about how brutal and how embarrassing Homelander is. That's what takes it across the point where I think they do a good job of, you might feel like an inkling of just sadness for him, right? You think about, he was a kid, no kid should have to go through any of that, right? And he was experimented on. But then when you see what he does do, that's where it goes the other way. If he's going to such extremes to embarrass people or hurt people, you can't really support him. Anthony Starr's fucking just laughing like the Joker in this episode. He was unhinged in this episode and did a very good job. So I think they walked a very fine line of showing these sad origins that are very tragic, but then also just striking back in a very like because to me, if you would have landed and just lasered them, I don't think I would have really felt much remorse because like I know they're just regular people and scientists, but then they are still experimenting on people and putting through a bunch of pain, right? So I think if they did
Mhm.
that, you almost might have like a hero moment for Homelander of like that's a what is any difference of Homelander doing this versus like Wolverine when he does an X-Men, right? When he finds people that experimented on him and fucks them up. Like there's no difference. It's just the difference is Wolverine's not making people jack off and, do all these sort of weird things and play like shoot the paper ball and then, so that's the difference. But I do like it and I'm happy that they got to it right away because not that I'm impatient, but I think if they would have built up to this and this would have happened later on the season, it wouldn't have the same impact because I think there's only 2 episodes that had like him having the quick flashes. So I'm glad we didn't have to wait around forever for it. Or I'm glad this feels like this was like the reverse where it could have been like a multiple episode thing where he was there. I'm glad this was like a one and done kind of storyline. It's like the Fly for
Mhm.
Breaking Bad. He was there, he made his peace, he killed some people. Well, actually, he killed everybody except for that female doctor, but he killed them in front of her, and that room, the bad room, is just filled with blood. So again, and I think that shot of Homelander going up in the elevator, covered in blood and smiling, I think another point is it just is showing how truly unhinged he is because he would do these things. Like he killed like Starlight's friend last season, but he would do these things a bit more incognito or when he had the power. This is just he's just really almost doing whatever.
Mhm.
He is off the leash, and that's where it's just the thing of okay, when is it going to happen? That I still feel like, especially with season 5 happening, I feel like at some point he is just going to snap and start just really killing civilians and stuff like that. I could be wrong, but I think that also just further showed his descent into madness. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. That scene of him just leaving Barbara down there, the doctor, and just she's looking around in the
yeah.
vault, and it's just all dead bodies. Like, I can only imagine if this was like your first like week on the job, then Homelander shows up, brings you ice cream cake, and you start like you're eating it, and then all this happens. Fuck.
Which I like because I don't I did rewatch it, so sorry I'm getting this fact wrong. But if I am getting it wrong, I think the only person that had called him John, it's funny. Deep and him got their real names dropped for the first time last season. I think the only person that called him John was Maeve, and he didn't do this. But I did like the whole no, it's not John, it's Homelander. Like he's just
Hmm.
that complete because again he's trying to like erase that human part of him, right? Even though it's still there, there's still a bit of him that's human. So I did like that touch.
Hmm.
The other touch I did like was, and maybe we'll transition more into him as well, but at some point, A Train needs to get some V in this episode, so he goes to Homelander's place. And again, Ashley, I'm telling you, last season she helped save Maeve. She's wanting to quit. Now she's going taking shits in Homelander's
Leaving floaters.
leaving floaters, which I wonder, like, this whole, like when Homelander keep getting home, be like, why the fuck is there just like a shit in my toilet all the time? But again, I'm not saying she's going to be on the same level of A Train where she's going to go join the boys, even though I actually think Ashley with the boys would be very comedic. But I feel like it's not like the Deep and Homelander. I don't know if she's completely irredeemable, and I feel like something's gonna happen. I feel like we're just getting little hints of not that she's on our side, but it's like the fucking General Hux thing. Like I don't need you to win, but I need Kylo Ren to lose. Like I feel like it's like
Mm.
that, and I think she's going to do some things. So her and Ancient both not saying anything. But yeah, do you think Ashley? Because I feel like we kind of think that okay, obviously Homelander will get killed at one point. Probably the Deep because he had multiple chances to redeem himself and he really isn't. He's still kind of a piece of shit guy. Maybe they'll still come. A Train, he's picking the side of the boys. He seems like he's starting to redeem. Do you think with Ashley we're gonna get that, or do you think by the time we get to the show, is she gonna go down with the ship, or is she a character that they might keep around because she could pop up in a Gen V and other spin-offs and stuff like? What do you think the fate of is for Ashley, like in long term?
Well, it depends what this deal is that A Train made with her, right? Because we don't know the fallout
Mm,
of that conversation. They both caught themselves or caught each other, sorry, in Homelander's apartment. So I'm curious what that will be. If maybe A Train's pitching like, hey, do some work here for the boys if you want to get back at Homelander,
yeah.
and I won't tattletale. So I think that there's a few possibilities going that way, but I'd like to see her become like semi good, at least working with the boys. I think that would be a lot of fun. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's obviously got a lot of resentment.
Yeah, I like I said, my perfect world, I'm always down for writing. Maybe she just gets killed, so I'm always down to see where the writing's gonna go. But my perfect world is she helps with the boys, and they keep her around, and she's like I said, a good character you can plug into Gen V or any of those spinoffs whenever you need
Hmm.
that conduit. So, and then A Train, he's still being a mole, so I'm liking that. I'm liking that we're fully now just A Train is on the good side now. And I did like that him and Huey finally, because he had, even last season though, A Train did apologize and it was a heartfelt one. Like he actually, for season 1 and 2, he never was heartfelt. For this one, he was. But again, he almost apologized. He pretty much apologized again. And Huey has accepted because he got him the V. But I think, I can't remember. It was just Butcher when they were having a conversation about moving on and just accepting things. It is this case of okay, it ended tragically. He ran over Rob and his girlfriend, but at the same point, what else are you gonna do? He is helping you now, so you're just gonna have that resentment, or you gonna try to buckle up and work with him to be on the team. So I like everything that's happening. I do worry for A Train's long term goals because I feel like he could be someone that might die at the end of the season. Like I feel like he might give up some bigger information, and then Homelander is gonna fuck him up or something because I don't know. I could just see that happening. But again, I'm happy that A Train is now on his redemption arc.
I'm happy too. I think it makes the character a lot more enjoyable.
Mm.
And I'm curious to see how it unfolds too, because he keeps complaining about Sister Sage being kind of locked in on him. So
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time before he does get found out.
Someone's going to catch him. Not New Noir, but somebody is going to catch him doing
Mhm.
something. So, yeah, it'll be interesting what happens. Like I said, him and Huey are good. Speaking of Huey, he wasn't doing much this episode. Like, he wanted to get the V, but the biggest thing is they've said that Simon Pegg is like sick and he's gonna die. So Huey has this idea to give him V, not temp V, because he's hoping that this can do something with his powers. Butcher,
Mhm.
who it's funny for the first time in the show, I feel like Butcher's the one that has like he has a storyline, but it's just so minor. Like I'm gonna die, and I'm just gonna do what I can before I die. Like it's almost like just he's just kind of around because he's seeing Becca, but he did reveal that he did try to take Compound V, and it didn't work, and it just actually made the process go quicker.
Yeah.
His dying, so not good for him. But yeah, he's seeing Becca. I feel like more and more as these episodes go on. So I feel like that's a sign of him slipping and losing it. But he gets the V. Huey gets the V. He's gonna use it on his dad. Butcher had that good talk of telling him not to do it. Maybe the old Butcher wouldn't have, but he talked him out of it. But then he leaves to go to the washroom, and it felt like it was a very kind of clunky scene where all of a sudden you look down and it's in his bloodstream. So I guess they're insinuating that his mom
Oh, totally.
got the V and put it in. And it's just like I know she probably knows what V is, but I still feel like that's like a risky thing because you don't know exactly what this is. What if it
Well,
was?
she's an employee for VOD, isn't she?
I guess so, but that's what I meant. Like, I guess she just knows that. That's what it will do. And yeah, so now that's something where it's like a storyline I was completely unsuspecting. Really like some of the stuff we got there where they inform that he's probably going to die and she hugs him. And Huey kind of embraces it for a little bit, then kind of realizes it's his mom, his deadbeat mom, so gets him to mess off. But yeah, what do you think's going to happen here with Huey's dad having some powers now, potentially? Fight Homelander?
Oh, yeah, fight Homelander. Well, I mean, it'll be pretty interesting. I'm curious what exactly his powers are going to be.
Hmm.
Um, I really thought that they were going to kill him off in this episode, and so I was quite surprised when Huey comes back and you see the blue going through the tubes. I'm thinking, holy shit, she actually did it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
With a kind of I won't say evil look on her face, but non-regretful, and I'd say like a tad scary. So I don't know what's going on with her.
yeah, like I don't know if I can still trust her at all at this
Right.
point
Yeah.
because of just her history with Huey. But yeah, maybe she's got her own objectives, like Sister Sage, right? Her own motivations.
Yeah. Get out of here, Kirkland, with your meme. I'm gonna ban this user.
Look
Yeah.
at him; he's keeping it up more than I am.
Yeah. Delete that comment right there. Yeah. So we got that going on. Another Huey development in a way. Where so Starlight she's doing her campaign thing, still working on trying to bring down the Homelander fans. Firecracker has now been giving like pretty much a Fox News type of show. It's a talk show. Opens up great with her in the fucking deep, just singing. I can't remember what it was, but singing some
We
sort of
belong. Was it like we belong?
some
The
sort of 80s
mountains
70s love
high.
song. It was good.
Da-da-da-da-da.
And then the boys think they got her dead to rights because they found footage of her getting it on with a 15-year-old boy. She doesn't care. She's like, "Oh, I'll just go announce it right now," which she does, and she uses it as a simple way, and she uses it as like a perfect transition to talk about like, "Oh, you want to talk about the danger and safety of kids? Well, let's talk about Starlight who had an abortion." Um, so I, this is the one part where I said this is where it gets very political because the whole superhero registration act, those things, superhero, because like whatever you want to say, if they're making Homelander be like Donald Trump's like not killed anybody in the in the public, right? So that's where these are big leaps. Where this like abortion is like a huge topic in every country. I feel like, right, especially in North America, and it's like especially a couple years ago in America where you could get abortions anywhere, but then they overturned Roe versus Wade, and then it's like some states don't do it, some states do it in only a certain amount of time. So it's like still like a big issue, especially in the states. So like I said, if you don't like the politicalness of these shows, then it's very much leaning that direction. And if you don't want that, then I get it, I guess. And if you want to tune out, but again, it doesn't bug me because I'm fine with political stuff, and I always just feel like the Boys has been political. This is just the most it's been, and the closest it has been to home, and that's what Firecracker does. She reveals her medical records. I don't know if I bought Starlight going down there and almost murdering her. I thought that was like I don't know if it was warranted in my mind. I thought Starlight Nanny would be smart enough. I get that she's so mad, and I get what they are doing. They're definitely making tons of allusions to like My Body, My Choice, when she's talking about like her paperwork being out there, and now she's gonna have to relive it. Like tons of stuff that is vital, and I'm like, people don't. Taylor doesn't have to say, but like for me, I'm somebody that's pro-choice, so it's like they are putting them in a certain perspective in this show, and then so she beats the shit out of Firecracker. So I like that. As far as she's losing support of the public, I thought they went a little overboard. Of like I said, I thought Annie would have been able to control her emotions a bit better than just destroy Firecracker. Especially at that point, we're not in season 1, Andy. We're season 4 now, or Annie. So we'll see. I think it was almost used as a plot device. But what I did like was because they tell them and other people find out on the news. I did like that they reveal that Huey was a part of the decision because I was really worried they were going to get back and he was going to be mad, and then they were going to be broken up again for like last season where they're broken up for 3 to 4 episodes, then when they get back together. So when he's like, "Oh, that was our choice," like we talked about, I was like, "Oh, thank goodness," because I didn't. Right now, there's so much good stuff going on. I don't need another Huey and Annie aren't getting along because X, Y, and Z. So overall,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know if I bought her going so hard on Firecracker. I get she was mad, but overall, the whole segment of Firecracker, Huey, the abortion, Annie, I liked the whole thing, and now Annie's lost some support. So how you feeling about those ones?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty strong blow against Annie because we had her setting up an alliance with what was his name? He's like the
He's
politician
running
leading
for
the charge.
president.
Running for president,
Yeah.
yeah, and so he's trying to take out the head popper below him. So he's cut that off now with her
Yeah.
because she made
Support's
a
gone.
yeah, the support's gone. She made a stunt like that on live TV with the cameraman and
And
just didn't.
also the abortion too, not so much for like right or wrong, but it's like where she specifically grew up, they are against that, and from her values, where clearly she doesn't share those values. But that was another reason as well too, right? Because she looks kind of like a fraud or something for doing that. But I feel like she's
Yeah.
not been in her mom's community for many years, like since the show started. So
And it's interesting too because you have, I mean, Ryan's the only natural born soup, right? So it wasn't supposed to be a thing. And here is Starlight
yes.
getting pregnant. So that's interesting, right? I feel like that
Well,
adds some a little bit
the
more.
baby would have had to go to term though to know if it was a soup though, right? It could have just been a
That's
regular
true.
person again, right? But
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, I think everything that was going on with Firecracker kind of stoking that fire a little bit and trying to
Yeah, she's
antagonize.
great. She's a
Oh
great
yeah,
antagonist character.
yeah, and I think she's pretty good. Yeah, and I think everything with them just sitting up across the shop from where they're working, like it's
Yeah.
just so much. They don't even have an audience, but they're making it look like it's a big crowd with the way the cameras are set up and their performance on stage. So there's a lot of dynamic going on there. And her trailer too, with that like sparkly gun and like the drugs hidden inside there, and they're snooping around and yeah. So I don't have much else to add. Just that it's I'm with you that I'm glad Huey and her are on the same page. Are both aware.
Yes.
I don't need more of a dynamic in there,
No.
just because it feels like too they're both venturing down their own paths for a lot of this. Like I feel like they've joined forces in some problems, but Huey's dealing with his dad on his
Yeah.
own, and Starlight is dealing with the world on her own right now. So
They definitely got a two tower situation going on where they're a
mhm,
team, but they're on different places in Middle Earth there. So I
mhm.
was going to ask you about sneaking around the trailer because that's the only thing with Butcher I wanted to talk about. So Firecracker has some sort of helper, bodyguard, can stretch and everything. Fun little fight scene there. Butcher uses the extinguisher to break his arm stuff. Who the fuck killed that guy? Because what happens is Butcher's on the ground and he's getting choked out and it fades to black. And then when he wakes up, that guy's body is ripped to shreds. What do you think
I
happened?
think it was Butcher because
You
you
think
see a
so?
focus on like the worm things moving through
Yeah.
his head, right? So I think that there's just something, and he blacked out. He doesn't know what happened. So I feel like there's something going on with him.
Hmm.
We already know he didn't take Temp V. He actually took like the V
Compound V.
compound V.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's very crazy, and I feel like it's definitely just a different power that he's got that he's
Okay.
not sure about. So
Yeah, because I was trying to think, like, if A Train already wasn't on the good side, I thought, oh, maybe it was him, and this is him, like, getting it out there that he is going to help the boys, but he's already at the boys, so we wouldn't have to do, like, a sneaky scene. So I couldn't really. The only one that also popped into my mind was Ryan. Because he said to
mm,
Homelander of he doesn't want Butcher to get killed. They had that moment where they bonded over the food and the games. I could see a moment where he landed because he's ripped up the way like Homelander could rip someone up, right? And you're right about the worms. There's something going on there. I'm not sure if that could just show sickness or power, but if there's anybody, if it is, that's my guess is that it was Ryan
that's a good
saving
pick.
him. So, and we
That's a
didn't
good
see
pick.
Ryan this episode. That was my other reason why too. He wasn't with Homelander. He wasn't with the boys and stuff, and that
Hmm.
could be something. And then now, is it a stretch that Ryan would fucking like just kill someone purposely and then also rip them apart like that? Absolutely. I think that is like a big jump to like for a kid to do that. But this is the boys, they could do it. And I could understand if people didn't like that writing of because he's supposed to hopefully turn good and be on our side. But in this episode, if you just tear someone to complete pieces, I could see someone having a problem with it. I just need to see the execution of it going forward.
Yeah.
And yeah, anything else on Butcher or the boys? MM's just still being the leader. We talked about
Yeah.
Huey.
MM's still the leader, brought Butcher back in. And I like how Butcher, he knows what's going on. Like, he's calling Starlight out, like, why has Firecracker got such a beef with you? And
Yeah.
Starlight's like, well, nothing. I don't know. Um, yeah.
I think for the time that he's like back with the boys, I don't even know if we needed it. It was a minor storyline, but still, I don't think we even needed them throwing him out for a
It's
little
like
bit if he's
10
already back.
minutes of him being thrown
Yeah.
away.
Like I thought he was gonna get thrown out. He'd pair up with Jeffrey Dean Morgan's agency, and that's how they'd bump into each other as they're on the same mission, but you guys are the boys and I'm with whatever Morgan's character is,
Yeah.
right? But they didn't do that, and we still haven't seen Morgan yet. So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious of which route they're gonna go down there. So
Hmm.
we'll see. The other one, oh, who am I forgetting? I was just gonna bring them up. And sorry, we have
Uh,
seen Morgan, but I just mean like we haven't seen him officially recruit Butcher yet. Sorry, I misspoke
yeah.
there. Like we just haven't seen that collection get together yet, right? So, God, there's another one.
Chemical.
Yeah, so she had that duel with that girl, and that's more of the trafficking stuff. I was happy with the amount that was in there because, as I've said before, those storylines don't do much for me. So I was happy with that one, and I was happy enough. I'm not really invested in Frenchie's story. It's not because he's
No,
gay,
eh?
as people like pointed out, like with Star Wars and the boys this week of like how much stuff of like, oh, I'm not watching anymore because as I said last week, there was multiple times in the show that they had inferred that he was with men. So no, it's not that like I don't think the storyline's bad of he's with this guy and the guy finds out he kills family because hey, I'm with the guy too. If I find out someone killed my family, I'm not. Doesn't matter how good a blowjob they're doing. Like I'm gonna beat you up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It's not bad, but I'm just not. I guess I'm just not invested in it. I guess I'm just
Hmm.
like. I think it's also because we just met this guy character, and I just feel like the chemistry's not there. We haven't had time to really grow with the relationship, so I think it's fine. I did like that character's reaction. I liked that it wasn't like, oh, I understand. I like that they just beat the shit out of him and said, oh, if I ever see you again, I'm going to kill you. Do I believe that? no, I think they'll probably find a way to get back together somehow. But like I said, if it's a good if that's the resolution, I guess I don't know if I could say it's good because then it's like what we're doing for episodes. But yeah, what do you feel about Kamiko and Frenchie storylines right now?
Yeah, Kamiko, I love the buddy buddy kind of storyline here with Huey and her, and just the the fact that her past is kind of coming down to bite them in the butt, and she's given like the crash course on survival to Huey with the shield and the box cutter and all that, which worked. Definitely saved his life. And she took a grenade like to the gut, and she just exploded in half and then healed up. That was just crazy, absolutely crazy. But yeah, as far as it goes with Frenchie, I'm I'm not sure where exactly the story will go to now. Like he's just yeah, he told the truth, and we got a little bit of backstory too because it turns out that his partner was there at the time hiding under the
Yeah.
bed, and so there's the
I
identifying
saw
mark
his
on his ankle.
scarred foot.
Saw his
Yeah.
scarred foot. Yeah, so there is definitely some stuff going on, and that just it does make it more traumatizing for Frenchie. But yeah, I'm not sure what this serves because I don't think we're gonna pursue this relationship moving forward, and I'm
No, you
not
don't
sure
think
if
so?
it's
I think they'll get back together somehow.
really.
I think Frenchie will save him or some shit, and then he'll understand where he's coming from.
Of course, that's a family killing veto if they save your life.
Yeah, all is forgiven if you save me. So, because she also still works with Annie, right? Like, I'm not
He
sure.
does. He does. Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going to happen with Annie's camp after this whole beatdown. As we saw this episode, people are pulling out. That president, hopefully to be elected, was so maybe there won't even be like a group base camp of her supporters. But if there is, he is there. So I imagine they'll bump into each other a couple more times. Even if they don't end up dating again, I could see them at least having like a mea culpa, like okay, again, not forgive you, but like I understand, and then move on, never talk to each other, you know. So
Yeah.
is there anyone or anything we're missing from this episode that you can think of?
Oh, I got Homelander, got Huey's dad, Kimiko, and then Firecracker, Starlight.
Yeah, I don't think we are.
No, I
Black
think that
Noir
is
wasn't in this
everything.
one. We didn't get any gems from New Noir, so we'll have to wait and see.
There
what's
was the
happening there.
brief moment because Sister Sage was kind of giving everyone the rundown, the
Right.
plans, and he rocks up like, "Can I talk to you real fast?" And she's like,
No.
"Nope."
Yeah, poor New Noir, just like the kicking bag of the whole entire team. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see like, can he fight? Does he have any powers, or if he is really just an actor? And because I feel like whether it's this season or next season, there's gonna be like a big fight, and someone's gonna square off with Noir and just like kill him super easily, and they'll be like, isn't this guy supposed to be a badass, like Winter Soldier type? But yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. To,
Yeah, we don't even know if he is a soup. I guess you're right.
yeah. So yeah, we will see.
I don't think I got anything else. I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we covered most of the stuff because it's like we said. I don't think it was like a basic episode. There's developments, but they're all kind of straightforward there. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I'm very much enjoying it. I think I'm like underplaying it, but I think it's just like I would have bigger things. I'll have bigger things to say when like big developments happen or like the pilots or the finales. But it's just like there's a certain quality I expect with the boys, and they're just hitting it, and it feels so good. Especially when we live in a time where, like for me, like Star Wars, that's up and down. Marvel shows are up and down. You know, the boys, it's just like it's not that it's chicken soup for the soul because you get some scene where guys fucking wanking it and getting his dick lasered off, but it's almost the reverse. That if I had more to say, it'd probably be that the show could be in trouble unless it's a big development. But like because there'd be all these complaints, and so far I have no complaints. Like they have these, and even stuff that might be like predictable. It's like it's predictable in the good sense of the story has to go this way for it to make sense, you know.
Yeah.
So and stuff like Homelander going to his origin, Frenchie and that boyfriend breaking up. I'm glad that these things are happening midway through the season already, so we can get into new stuff or dive into that stuff more down the road. It's not like I said, I worried that they were going to kick the can a bit on that Homelander origin thing, but no, it's done with now, you know. So
Yeah.
I think it was the right amount. I think one episode's like whatever one episode his runtime, that was good. Like I don't think there's any more there they could have done and it wouldn't get redundant. So Yeah, we'll be back next week for episode 5. See what fucking power his dad gets, because that was before Homelander's ending. That was the big thing. He opened his eyes. If we didn't be clear, he opened his eyes. He's alive and looks like he has power. So not sure what's going to happen there. Just even in general, and that one, it's gonna be good to see. God, what's his why did I forget his name? Scott. What is his name? I don't know. Who's the actor that plays his dad?
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg, thank you. I don't know why it's in Scott Pegg, but Simon Pegg, like that's also going to next week add a new dynamic when he's awake and his ex-wife's there with his son and everything, right? So I think again already it's like we know what's going to happen next week is the superpowers with him, then also just like what's the dynamic of these three back together as it was clearly a damaged relationship. So yeah, lots. Oh, go ahead.
I forgot to mention, quick interjection. At the rally with Firecracker, they did some name drops like Kanye, and they did draw John Voight's in the crowd.
Yeah,
like.
they did. Yeah. Oh, I can't remember who they. Yeah, yeah, right. Kanye was the one that they're like, oh, Kanye, and then it like cut away to show him not on there, which you never know with this show, if they would have been there or not. A Train's movie's going in production. They showed some stuff with him and Will Ferrell, like promotional stuff, which that was funny. So. That's good stuff. And that's the other thing too. I forgot to mention. I also just liked A-Train going through Homelander's house, just being like he didn't say this, but just his face, like this guy's fucked up. Like all the things he's keeping. And imagine if you don't have the context, you're like, what? Like who
Pubes,
is?
baby milk.
Who is this fucking guy? So who knows? We'll see what Homelander's up to next week. So yeah, episode 5 will be back, and it will not be boring.
Bye.